baby ducks.
Aww.
Ready? Should we get out of the way of them? Are they gonna hurt us?
The ducks?
Yeah.
No, they're just
Protect your baby.
the ducks.
Okay, fine.
Yep.
Hi y'all, I'm Maud here with Goldie's Coffee. Today we're going to be talking about all things cold brew. So we're going to go over the history of cold brew today, answer some common questions about it, and also talk about why it's gotten so popular over the past couple decades. You might be asking yourself why I'm on a boat right now. They didn't really tell me a lot before I got here, but I'm on a boat. It has a little something to do with the history of cold brew. So back in the 17th century, Dutch traders were trying to find a way to bring coffee on their long voyages. Originally, you would use fire to make your coffee, but fire, ship, alone, in the ocean, maybe not the best idea. So somehow they found a way and invented cold brew. From there, it's thought that the Dutch maybe brought cold brew to Japan. We know that they were already cold steeping tea, so eventually we also know that the Kyoto brewing method was developed, which is the first recorded cold brew method. We'll be taking a look at this method later on. Do the best I can.
Gonna be a pirate? They had a horrible life. Oh God. Oh my God.
Now, while cold brew has been around for hundreds of years, it didn't gain mass popularity until the late 20th to early 21st century. This is all largely in part due to a chemical engineer by the name of Todd Simpson. So here we have the toddy cold brew system that's just finished a 16-hour steep. As I've said before, this cold brew system was made by Todd Simpson, hence toddy. Simpson was on a trip in South America for plant gathering for his garden nursery back in the States, when he came across a cafe that was serving what he described as the most delicious cup of coffee he had ever experienced. This cup of coffee was a concentrated cold brew mixed with very hot water. Let's try it out. So it's really good. It's incredibly smooth, very sweet, and low in acidity. You can tell why Simpson was blown away by this. There just wasn't anything like it out there. Simpson realized that due to the low acidity in this coffee, it was a huge plus for those with more sensitive stomachs that couldn't handle the oils or acids that hot coffee brings out. So that was enough of a reason for Simpson to bring this method back to the US, patent it, start a business out of his garage, and bring this delicious beverage to the coffee drinking masses in the US. Now let's go over to the cold brew room at the Kalita's Roaster to go a little more in depth. All right, so here we are in the cold brew lab, and as promised, we have the Kyoto cold brew system all set up and in the process of brewing. This system works.
Can you put the goggles on?
Yeah, put the goggles on.
Good.
This system works by letting water slowly drip into a bed of coffee grounds for hours and hours, usually 8 to 12 hours, and then our finished concentrate will... You okay? As I was saying, and then our finished concentrate will be in this bottom glass decanter here. Now this is one of, if not, the very first cold brew system developed. But of course there are plenty of cold brewing devices, such as the toddy we used earlier, the Kinto, Hario, Mizudashi, and even our old friend the French press. Speaking of, if you would like to see our French press cold brew video, please feel free to click the link up here. So while there are a multitude of different brewing devices and methods for cold brew, all of them have three things in common. They all require coffee, cold/ambient temperature water, and time. Lots of time. And the most common way to utilize these brewers is to make a cold brew concentrate. We do this by adding our coffee and water using a ratio between 1:4 and 1:9, and allowing that to sit for 8 to 24 hours. That concentrate is then diluted with water, milk, or ice, and you've got yourself some refreshing cold brew. Alternatively, we could up the ratio of coffee to water to say maybe 1:11 or 1:12, let that sit for a shorter amount of time, and we'd be left with less of a concentrate and more of a ready-to-drink option. This is all great and interesting, but you might ask, Maud, why can't I just make a pot of coffee and pour it over ice? Boom iced coffee. And I would say absolutely. You can and should do that if that's what you're looking for. In fact, since our Kyoto is still dripping here, let's head over to one of our cafes and try a couple different iced coffee brew methods and compare them with cold brew. Let's go. All right, so we're gonna be heading into Kaldi's Coffee on Skinker. Jalen's working today, so we're gonna see if he can hook us up with some iced coffee. Let's go! Hey Jalen.
What's up?
Not much. We're doing a video today about all things cold brew, and we wanted to find out the difference between cold brew and drip coffee over ice.
So you want me to grab you batch brew over ice?
Do you think that'll be good?
Let me grab you some, we'll try it.
Okay. It's not bad, but it's a little...
It's a little weak.
Right.
But some of you may prefer a weaker or more diluted coffee. But for Maud and I, we like a coffee that's a bit stronger with a fuller body. Right, so I got a few minutes. Let me take you over to the batch brewer so we can talk about how we can get a stronger extraction and why your coffee tastes the way that it did. Here's our batch brew setup. This brewer doses out hot water into these baskets that fill this pot up with hot coffee that's ready to serve. The reason our coffee tastes so good is because we've worked out how much water and coffee goes into this pot so that we have a 1:16 ratio of coffee to water in our cup. So if we added ice to this, we'd have a higher ratio instead of that 1:16. That's why our coffee over ice is so watered down.
See, so don't just pour drip coffee over ice.
That's your jam, go ahead and do it. It's all about what you like at the end of the day. I like a stronger cup of coffee. So let's go over here and make a pour with a closer ratio.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so we're gonna make what's called a flash brew. We're going to have 450 milliliter output in our decanter, and that's including the ice. However, the ice is not coming into contact with our grounds. It's just diluting our brew up top. So I didn't count that ice when I came up with the coffee to water ratio, just the hot water we use for extraction. We use 300 milliliters of hot water to brew, and I wanted a ratio of 1:10. So we put 30 grams of coffee into our filter. And now, after melting the ice and swirling everything together, we've got something close to a 1:14, 1:15 coffee to water ratio in our decanter. We could add a couple more cubes of ice afterward, and our ratio would still be close to 1:16.
Thanks, Jalen. Let's try this out. That's definitely what I would prefer, but let's try the cold brew too.
Yeah, there's definitely some taste differences there, but these are coffees from different regions, so of course they're gonna taste different.
Right, but regardless of the different coffees, also it's gonna be the brew method of drip versus cold brew that's gonna create these drastically different flavor profiles.
Yeah. So I guess you guys are gonna go talk about some science stuff and why cold brew tastes the way it does?
How do you know that?
It's in the script.
Right, well, right, okay.
Good luck.
Oh, that's my line, yeah. All right, y'all, we're back at the lab, so we're gonna check and see how our Kyoto's doing. Let's take a look. Alrighty, and it's still dripping, looks good. Oh, another one, still going, perfect. So we've defined what cold brew is and isn't, gave a little history, but what has made this drink skyrocket in popularity? Why drink cold brew? Well, for one, it's delicious. Also, it's easy to make if you have the time. Even this fancy contraption is literally just ground coffee and room temperature water. It has all the same health and energy benefits as hot coffee. Have I said it's delicious? Have I said it's refreshing? Did I mention it's splendid? Cold brewing is also an excellent way to use some old beans you might have left over in your pantry. And cold brew is much less acidic than hot brewed coffee, meaning it's easier on your stomach. In fact, let's talk a bit about why that is. Cold brewing leaves behind or extracts less of some acids and other compounds that hot coffee pulls out. This is because hot water is better at dissolving soluble solids, weakening molecular bonds, and creating oxidative reactions that extract organic compounds inside coffee beans. When we brew with cold or room temperature water, smaller yields of those particular acids and oils will be extracted, leaving us with that smooth, sweet, and easy drinking cup of cold brew. Now, with this information, it would make sense to ask the question, is cold brew stronger than regular hot drip coffee? And the answer is yes, but no. It depends. When it comes to coffee strength, we could be talking about a few different things, like the body of the coffee, flavor notes, lighter or darker roasts, or caffeine content. In this video, we're just going to be talking caffeine content, since that's one of the most common concerns we hear about with cold brew. So if you drink just straight cold brew concentrate, then yes, it is absolutely stronger than drip coffee. However, when you cut it with water, ice, or milk, your cold brew would have nearly the same caffeine content as hot coffee, depending on how much dilution you add. Now, can you drink straight cold brew concentrate? Yes. Yes, you can. Should you drink cold brew concentrate? Probably not. Also, it's worth noting that if you buy bottled or canned cold brew from a store or a cafe, in most cases, those will be diluted down already. But it's not a bad idea to check, is it? All right, our Kyoto has finished brewing, so let's try some out. Delicious. Refreshing, even. Now I'm gonna take this cold brew, pour it into an airtight container, and refrigerate it so it'll last for about a week to 2 weeks. All right, guys, well, I think we have finished this video now. We have gone over all things cold brew today. Been in a boat, been out of a boat, and I've preferred that to being in a boat. But I've talked to you about the history of cold brew, why it's so popular, and some fun facts about the science of cold brew. So, if you have any questions, I can't answer them right now, but you can, comment below with what your questions are about cold brew. Feel free to like and subscribe, and please tell them to not put me in a boat again. But I think together we have all come to learn the value of cold brew. Thanks y'all so much. I've been Maud with Kalita's Coffee, and this is all the things you didn't know about cold brew. Bye-bye.